Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chris Classic dropping another video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are at 81 subscribers. I want 100 by February. Thank you guys who have subscribed. Tell your friends, their mom and their great grandma to subscribe. We're just trying to do things with wrestling. I thank God for how many subscribers I have so far, because the topics that I cover, a lot of people cover, and sometimes it doesn't get a lot of coverage. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out the website, c3ultimatewrestling.com, and follow me on Facebook, Chris Classic Williams. This video is stemming from, as I'm driving to work, this is stemming from everyone's opinion about World on GCW. Now, I didn't watch the event, but from what I've seen from previous shows, I'm not a fan of it. No offense to anybody that worked there. I'm not attacking you personally or anything like that. This is just what sparked the topic of today. And a lot of people don't like talking about it, but I'll talk about it. Wrestling is very subjective. And if it has not been before, it is now in the year 2022. Actually, for the past few years, it's been very subjective. And what I mean by that is that people have their opinions on what true wrestling is. Now, I grew up more on the old school effect of it, and I was also trained on the old school effect of theory, things making sense, storytelling in the ring. That's what I like. That's what I prefer. Some people don't like that. Some people like the acrobatic flip stuff, and I hate calling it that, but hey, some people like that kind of stuff. If it makes sense, I'm cool with it. Some things just have to make sense to me for me to enjoy the match. Now, there are room for comedic routines and stuff like that, but then when it's overused or multiple matches do it, you don't like it. And this is my opinion, by the way. Nobody's cohorting me to say this. This is how I feel. Some people don't like storytelling. Some people just like matches. Just put a match together, and then that's it. Some people like that hardcore stuff. Some people like their whole show being hardcore. I don't do it. When I run shows, I don't do it. I think the main theme that I did was guys versus gals, and majority of the matches were intergender. And even then, people were critical on that. Oh, maybe one match, maybe two matches, but it shouldn't do all that. And to me, honestly, it was one of my biggest shows, because intergender wrestling is like what's in now. And ironically, when I bring that up, a lot of people look down on intergender wrestling. Now, me, it has to be done a certain way. Respect to Brian Cage, but I hate how he does intergender matches. No disrespect, but you flop around, you let these people throw you around as big as you are. And he does that, but that's what people like, and some of his stuff get 1 million views. I'm not hating. Congratulations on that. But it has to make sense. I think what me and my wife did, if you guys don't follow the C3 Ultimate Wrestling channel, you should. That's a plug. Or a lot of the guys that I did, because I said, let's just do a theory thing. A lot of women aren't throwing men around like that unless they're as big or bigger than the guy they're going against. But, if it's a build up to a big move like that, then it works. But that's going into my point. As long as, to me, my thing is, as long as it makes sense. And I'm not perfect. And my observing isn't perfect neither. Because sometimes I'll renege and say something and be like, okay. Or somebody has to talk to me and say, okay, well, maybe they was going for this or they was going for that. So I'm going to say that too. A lot of these people with these vlogs and stuff like that, they think that they know everything. No, I'm damn near 10 years in the business, and I'm still learning from some of the greatest people. So that's another thing to think about. Going back to intergender, like a lot of people, that's what a lot of people are liking. A lot of people are going for the woman to be victorious over the guy. A lot of people want the woman to be the champion, with the Tessa Blanchard situation and stuff like that. And regardless of how that fell out, a lot of people are like these matches. The hardcore thing, I'm not big on it, but I'm not against it. You get what I'm saying? Like, if it's a build up to it, all right, we've wrestled each other 2 times, and then now we need to see who's really victorious, and then you do something like a cage match or a hardcore match. Now, me personally, when it's a whole show, I don't like it, personally. But, like I said, some people paying for that. That's what a lot of people are paying for. If you're paying for a GCW or when ECW was around, if you're paying for that, you might get Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko or Chris Benoit or Rey Mysterio. You might get that, but most of the time the gist of it is you're going to get a hardcore match. You're going to see blood. You're going to see a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of people spend their money on these things that they don't like because they want to speak negative on it. They want to talk trash about it for clout and for views and stuff like that. Me, if I don't like something, I'm not paying to go see it. You know, the only AEW show, when I started my channel, the only one I didn't buy was the last one. I believe it was Revolution? Not sure. I think it was Revolution, where Paige beat Omega. But I watch a lot of wrestling. I'm critical on a lot of stuff. Some stuff I like, some stuff I don't like. And that's on all fronts. That's on main. That's on independent. That's on everything like that. I got my own company. I'm sure some people look at my stuff and be like, oh, I didn't like this and I didn't like that. That's okay. It's subjective, you know. Like I said, a lot of people are talking about Adam Cole, right? A lot of people are saying, oh, he looks different. Oh, he looks smaller. He doesn't look like a wrestler and stuff like that. But it looks like he's having the time of his life in AEW, you know. I'm not one of those guys that be like, oh, well, you gotta weigh 300 pounds. You gotta do this now. Actually, I'm on the fence with that, but not with Adam Cole, because to me, you have to look like a wrestler. You have to look like an athlete. And some of these guys are smaller, and it's like they can't. It's not their fault they're that short or anything like that. Like me, I'm 6'1". And I don't consider that tall. That's what, average or whatever like that. But sometimes I'm like the tallest dude in the locker room. That's no shade or anything like that. But they work with what they have, you know. AEW has been this, progressive company that they say they are. And, you know, it's not even about looks and stuff like that. You know, Adam Cole, I'm going to give this man credit. This guy's wrestled on, Dynamite, Rampage, and Dark. And with Dark, he's been putting on some matches with people we don't even know that give those guys rubs. And I know a lot of people are critical on that, saying, okay, well, this guy is a main eventer, why is he doing this and stuff like that? Subjective. It's just subjective. Now, with Cole, if he's wrestling, like, I thought the biggest thing was if he's going over there to wrestle and have fun, then, you know, he want to be with his friends. Okay, you know, like I said, he's putting on. It's only a few things. It's a few things I actually don't like. I don't like him tagging with the Bucks. I don't like the kissing thing. I don't like all of that stuff. But when he's wrestling, he's serious when it's a singles match. Now, I will say that. As far as his appearance, I'm not going to really go into his appearance or whatever like that. To me, he doesn't look that different. A lot of those guys look the same. No shade to them. That's another reason why even Hook can be appreciated, even though he's still new, because he kind of looks different and his moveset is different. Subjective. Some people don't like Hook. Some people don't see it. And that's okay. I think the issue is when you try to tell somebody certain things about it, like you try to make somebody like somebody, or you have to like this person because this person is the best wrestler in the world. And if you don't like him, then you don't like wrestling. And I'm just like, no, you can't do that. Now, there are some things, hypocrisy that goes on with both companies and even the independents. Oh, well, I don't like this person because they're not ready or whatever like that. You know, Jade gets a lot of stuff. And the thing with Jade admits that she's green. Now, that's the bad part, because you shouldn't even say that you're green. You shouldn't say it, even if we know it. Even if we know it. A lot of people like her look. She has charisma and stuff like that. I wouldn't say she's ready. She's practicing. She's getting ready on TV, and that's a risk. It really is a risk. But she's not the only one that needs work, and I think that's an issue that doesn't sit right with me, is that a lot of people just turn around because she won a belt from a predetermined sport, that she's not ready for a belt. And it's just like, how many new people have won a belt and they wasn't ready for it, or it was an attitude, or it was an ego and stuff like that. You know, Alberto Del Rio had an ego. Was he ready for the belt? You know, he was okay. I thought he was actually a decent in-ring performer, but look at the attitude and stuff that's even happening now. He's been on the cool side, but you get what I'm saying? So everything is just subjective now. And it's just like, I have a certain standard when I watch wrestling, But I have to realize, and I've talked about this before, this is like a part two. I have to realize that wrestling has changed. You know, a lot of people aren't 300 pounds. Not saying that I want to see somebody 300 pounds or whatever like that. But, you know, when you do see somebody 260, 250, they're dang near getting squashed by the people 150 pounds. Now, I don't like that neither. I really don't. Especially, you know, AEW does that a lot. And it's like, oh, okay. And to me, looking at it, I can see them doing that because a lot of people used to make fun of wrestlers who were short and stuff like that, saying that they weren't main eventers and they don't look like wrestlers, or you just a cruiserweight, you can't do anything, or I can kick your butt or whatever like that. So AEW could be just showing, oh, okay, well, these guys could hang with the big guys and we can pick them up, which is another thing I hate. It has to be a build-up. It has to be a build-up for it. I've learned that over the years. I've learned that. But with wrestling being subjective, everything isn't for everybody in the wrestling world. And if you don't have watch, you have a lot of people that hates WWE products, but they want to watch it because of certain people, or they have to watch it. And when I say have to watch it, it's because a lot of people do wrestling coverage. So they critique it and they say how much they hate it. But at the end of the day, they really don't have to watch it. AEW as well. Oh, they're signing ex-WWE guys and what is going on with this and stuff. And, you know, you do not have to watch it. You know, if you hated it that much, you would not watch it. But people want to get paid off of talking, off of YouTube, off of everything like that. And it's subjective. Those people that went to that GCW show this weekend, they knew what to expect. If you go see a Young Buck match, you know what to expect. If you're going there just to see something like, oh my God, like look at this old school thing, you're not gonna have a good time. You're just not going to. And I just don't understand how we can have an opinion and then you disagree, but then it goes to disrespect. You know, like I said, I can watch old school stuff. I used to love WCW. I still do. I used to love. I like old school stuff. I can look back at some of that old stuff and then just be like, man, this is what made me want to be a wrestler. You know what I'm saying? And then like this new content, it's like some I can get with and some I cannot. But it's subjective. Just because I don't like it does not mean that it's not going to sell. You have all of these shows, these crazy shows, these shows that got some weird stuff that does represent wrestling as a whole, selling out shows, making a lot of money. And, you know, and it's like, it's good for them. It's just, you know, I hope and pray that nothing negative happens because it all affects us as a whole. As a promoter, as I'm closing, sound like a pastor, as a promoter, it's difficult to even book shows if you aren't WWE or AEW. It's difficult because a lot of people look at the things that go viral on the internet, and they look at people hitting each other with cars, or people fighting at Walmart, or people cutting themselves open with pizza cutters and stuff like that. They look at that, and then they automatically put it all together. Heck, they even put together MMA. Like, they'll put MMA all together in boxing and stuff because it revolves a ring, and they'll consider it a blood sport. So they'll be like, okay, well, we don't want that. We don't want you guys messing up our buildings. We don't want blood everywhere. They don't understand it. So I do see some of these people who do get upset when these death matches, which I also don't like, subjective, these death matches that's happening a lot, that's going viral and stuff like that, that people are looking at. You know, these people who aren't even fans are looking at it and saying, oh my God, I would never look at this. I would never buy that. Is this what wrestling has resorted to? But somebody lives for those death matches. Somebody will pay to see somebody get hit with a weed whacker. Not me. So I see why a lot of people are saying, okay, this is what's ruining wrestling and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's still subjective. Some people are going to watch what's ruining wrestling. That may make people money. And you want to know what happens when it ruins wrestling, and what ruins wrestling makes people money? More people are going to do it. After Nick Gage, Dark Side of the Ring, and then he showed up against Chris Jericho, who's one of the best wrestlers considered, everybody wants to do a death match now. I saw a black dude get covered in blood so much he looked red after that. Now, is it for me? No. Can it ruin wrestling? Possibly. But it's just what's in now. It's what some people are paying for. Now, at the end of the day, it might not get you a TV deal, which is the long haul, is trying to get promoted and trying to have longevity on TV or an app or some service where people are paying for. But it is what it is from this point. You have to realize that right now wrestling is so subjective. You have a lot of wrestling themed shows. You have a lot of certain matches. The whole show is a cage match. The whole show is hardcore and stuff like that. And some people want to see that. And some people live to see it. You know, I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it. So guess what? I'm not going to go see it. It's as simple as that. The thing is, it's so easy to be negative because if you say something negative about a company, people are going to look at it and people are going to find more things to be negative about. So, you get what I'm saying? So, you know, if you be negative, you'll probably get more views. And that's the truth. You know, if you're praising a show, you might not get as much views. Like if I make a video saying how much I hate a wrestling company, you might get the most views because people are going to look at that and they're going to see that, and then they're going to also comment about it as well. Yeah, I don't like it because of this. I was waiting on somebody to do that. But if I don't like it, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. But I'm not going to try to talk about people's personal life and stuff like that. I've heard it. I've seen it. It's the worst thing in the world. But don't forget, wrestling is subjective. Do I think that they need to have a stronger foundation on what we do? Yes. Is it going to happen? No. Because whatever is making people money, people are going to go to. Intergender, deathmatch, hardcore, MMA, all kind of stuff. MMA too. MMA does WWE tactics or wrestling tactics too, but a lot of people don't want to talk about that. But that's for another video. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.